This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end of our elaborate plans. The end of everything that stands. The end. But is this really the end, or is this the beginning? The beginning of your Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon, and the crew is ready for the end. But the question is, the end of what? Look, the end. Well, like the big end is maybe what we're talking about, the end of everything. I mean, like, end times, the end of the world, like dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I mean, we've been predicting the end of the world forever. And I mean, like The Sandlot, forever. I mean, if you think about it, right? We had the Mayan calendar not too long ago in 2012. Before that, we had another prediction that we were at the end in 2011, according to biblical numerology. We just had Y2K right before that. We had the prediction of the final war by Louis Farrakhan in 1991. Jehovah's Witnesses predicted the end of the world in 1975. Charles Manson predicted it in 1969. Jim Jones in 1967. The Catholic Apostolic Church, the one founded in 1831, not the real Catholic Church, they predicted it in 1901. John Wesley, founder of the Methodist Church, predicted it in 1836. The Shakers predicted it in 1792 and in 1794. What the hell, just for good measure? The list goes on and on and on and on, including predictions from Martin Luther and various popes and even the Hebrews back in 66 AD. You'd think that we would have learned by now. You'd think that maybe we'd get the idea that, no one knows the time or the place, and anyone who tells us otherwise is full of it. But, and this is a big old Sir Mix-a-Lot but, we keep falling for it. And maybe, just maybe, the end, well, we don't know, like, the end of it all. But maybe we actually know the end of us, like each of us, like the person. We've been given pretty clear instructions, and those instructions come to us in 1 Timothy. And what we get there, it's actually pretty logical. We're told the Spirit clearly says that in later times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Such teachings come through hypocritical liars whose conscience have been seared as with an iron. In other words, the end times for us, they typically come with two things. The first is the following of that which is evil. And I guess we have to kind of define that, because if we define love as to will the good of other for the sake of other, then evil must be those things that will the harm of other for no reason. Pretty clear. Some have abandoned wishing good for each other in this world, and they're following those who wish ill will towards others. But that passage then gives us other things which help us define evil. Hypocrites and burned conscience. Well, the hypocrites are pretty easy to spot today. For the most part, just find a politician who's in front of a microphone, and you've found one. People who say there are too many rich people in the U.S., yet they're almost always in the top 1% of individual net worth in the United States. These are the people who make, $175,000 a year, but are somehow worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. They're on the news and they tell us something is bad when they don't like it, but the same thing is good when it benefits them. Their conscience is seared. It's carterized. Well, those are easy to spot too. They say they care, but they don't. These people use the less fortunate as pawns and cannon fodder to pad their pockets and the pockets of their friends and their benefactors. See, the godless want the end times. They want us to lose faith. They want us to fall prey to demons, and that's maybe the true end of the person. That's true Armageddon. That's the revelation. But then we get more hints in 2 Timothy. And if you think about it, where we are today, it's maybe a little too close to home. We're told, and I quote, "There will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, having nothing to do with such people. Yeah, maybe we should have nothing to do with those people. Too many of us out there today have fallen prey to those godless heathens who crave their own power, pleasure, prestige, and pride. Those same godless heathens will sell us out every second of every day. It's just what they do. They only care about themselves. They're not willing to put themselves on the line or in the line of fire for someone else, or rather someone else's family, or even the people that they're supposed to represent. So what's the answer? The answer is this: save yourself and try to save them. The answer, in the end, if you really think about it, it's exactly why you listen to Implicit Bias Radio. It's important that you spread your faith, will the good of other for the sake of other. The answer is quite simply, you want to save the world? Grab a weekly whiskey, kick back, share the most important thing you have. Share your implicit bias. Cheers. Big announcements on Implicit Bias Radio. Cheers from the crew. And man, I love doing this when we get to introduce everybody. And we have so many fun announcements that are just not just great for us, they're hopefully great for you. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. This is Implicit Bias Radio. We are back on the air. We've got a great crew. Let me introduce you to the crew who's here in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast lair. Let's start in the chair, much like mine. He is the rustic renegade, Caleb Morse. Caleb, it's good to have you back in the TSPL. And yes, I promised everybody that we were going to save you a sip of Deep Blue. And let's start there because you got your sip before the show.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had it before we went on air. That way I could drink the same thing everyone else was drinking. And I don't think we can beat me enough. I said beep me enough.
Oh, I thought you said something else. And I was like, you went there already?
To describe Deep Blue, because that is like, it's got to be a good proof. Like we're definitely 110 plus on it.
Oh, easy.
And then just the flavor profile, the caramel, the depth of it. Oh, my word. I need to crack mine open and see where I'm at on it.
Good to have you back in the TSPL and fun for us to have another episode. Let's go to the bar. We're going to start with Eli Tate of Gambino's Bakery here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Eli, it is good to have you back as well.
Oh, it's great to be here. Been a minute since I've been here, but it's always great to be with you guys and enjoying some good whiskey.
The good news is you say it's been a minute. It hadn't been that long.
Maybe it feels like it's been a long time.
You know what? Sometimes you need to come sit in the Mr. Lester's TSPL, sit at the bar and have a drink.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Good to have you back. Good to see you. Glad you're here and looking forward to some of the conversations. We've got some stuff just for you. Also at the bar, and with Chef Willie, there's always something going on. He is the executive chef at Mr. Lester Steakhouse. He's got other titles. That's all we're going to talk about right now. The executive chef at Louisiana's only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston. It's great to have you back, Chef.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you knew this question was coming. I actually asked you this question prior to the show. And we're going to announce what you're doing in October because this will be the first show of October.
Absolutely.
Where you did something stupid in September. So we should have called it Stupid September. And there's no alliteration for October with how dumb this is.
Idiotic October?
No, because that would be an I and an O. I mean, I think we're going to go with the word boo, and it's going to...
Outlandish October.
Oh, Outlandish October. Well played. Caleb, ring the bell. Somebody at the bar, please ring the bell. Yes, Outlandish October at Mr. Lester Steakhouse. Let's start with September. $5 Colonel Taylor pours.
Yes, sir.
How did that go over?
I don't have any left.
Wait, you're out?
I'm out.
Officially out.
Officially out.
You're going to get more, though.
Yes.
But it's not going to be at $5 because we've got Outlandish October.
Right.
Should we tell them what Outlandish October is?
You ready for it now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's $5 Blanton's.
$5 Blanton's pours while they last at Mr. Lester Steakhouse. So if you have a special night coming up with that special someone and you want a meal that you will remember with that someone, if you're with them for the rest of your life, it's a great memory. If not, just remember the food. You might have fun, but I guarantee you'll remember the pour of $5 Blanton's. What I'm saying is take your date. down to Mr. Lester's, and worst case scenario, you get a $5 pour of Blanton's,
That is correct.
right? A big, big, big special. You will not find that special anywhere else. I just can't believe, quite honestly, Shep, that you have the, there's another word that is alliteration with Blanton's, that you have the blank to sell Blanton's at $5. But that's impressive. Cheers to you and cheers to Mr. Lester's. This is another one, though. I know that you have been stockpiling that particular pork, correct?
I have.
So you have enough to make it at least through the weekend if Caleb and I show up.
Absolutely.
Well, and now I'm sitting here thinking, and I just had an epiphany. If only there was a restaurant that I really enjoyed, that my wife thoroughly enjoyed, that I should call maybe for a 22 anniversary. I wonder if maybe, can you help me remember that, if you don't mind, Willie?
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm going to forget in 10 minutes. So I know y'all's reservation line isn't going to be answered right now, but the people that answer it do call back. I've had that happen before. So look, I need to remember, but go ahead and call. Do your reservations now. Get prepared. I mean, my 22nd anniversary is October 18th. I don't know when yours is, but go there.
Now look,
go to Mr. Lester's.
If you know that we record this in the evening. We are not live on the radio. We are crazy. We are not that stupid that we're going to put 4 people sampling with kind of air quotes whiskey for 2 hours on a radio show without a safety net of editing and pre-recording. But for those who know, it's a Thursday that we're recording this, Caleb. They actually would answer if you called right now because they are open
this is true.
Thursday, Friday,
is
Saturday
true.
nights, and that's it.
I'm
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I'm going to do that in the next break
Okay. So
because I made
let's,
a mistake and double booked myself for my anniversary.
so let's talk about some of the other big news that we have on Implicit Bias Radio, which is always just tremendous. We have 2 new members of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective in the Lafayette area. So if you are listening in the Acadiana area, you not only have New News, Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. We really appreciate everything New News has done. We're glad they're a part of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. Matter of fact, we expect to have a bottle from them, a pick from them next week. So we have New News. We have Champagne's Market in Carencro. So if you're a little north, you can go to Champagne's in Carencro. This week from Benny's in Opelousas, this bottle of Smoke Wagon straight bourbon whiskey. We'll review that in a minute. They are a member of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective up in Opelousas. So if you're a little bit farther north, you're there. 2 new members also in the month of October. They started with us. We're thrilled to have them. We're going to start with one because, we didn't have anybody, a little bit more to the west. Champagne's in Abbeville has joined us. And if you listened last week, you knew because we had a bottle of what they have to offer. We had their Tumblin' Dice pick, a blue all the way around, fantastic bottle. Go visit them for your fine spirits. And look, if you are in the Lafayette area, if you think about it, we are based out of Lafayette. And only just now do we have someone in the Lafayette area who said, we need to be a part of this. And Lafayette's kind of locked down now. You want to buy your fine spirits, you want to buy your picks, go to Ambassador Wine and Spirits. They are now a member of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. All of your fine spirits at all of those locations in the Acadiana area. We'll be adding locations in the New Orleans area coming up soon if you're listening in New Orleans. We're having conversations with multiple people in North Louisiana if you're listening up there. And if you are listening and you walk into your liquor store and they are not a member and you didn't hear them, you might want to tell them, hey, y'all should do this because it'll bring people in and it will help you align with your implicit bias. So that being said, another big news. We'll save more big news later because we got more stuff coming. I want to get to number 1, Judy. So we're just going to call her Judy because I don't want to throw this name out there for everybody. Judy will know who she is. And gentlemen at the bar, I'm going to ask you a question because you are doing something that is inaugural on this week's episode of Implicit Bias. For the very first time, you are drinking out of a new Implicit Bias whiskey glass. Y'all want to show them at the bar so people can see what they look like? These are beautiful, handcrafted Japanese whiskey glasses. These were given to Implicit Bias. Caleb, you want to tell the story while I make sure I've got her, and we will go ahead and give her full name because only she will know her full name, but you want to tell us the story of how this went down because you shocked the heck out of me when you told me this.
Yeah, so this was right before we were going to go to Tawakara, and I think this was probably the Thursday or the Friday. I texted you, I don't remember which day. And we had this woman come in, and walks in rustic, and she's like, I'm looking for Caleb. And I was juggling, 9 feral cats at the time. And then she's like, well, I'll wait. And she's got this big black box in her hand. And she goes, look, I love the show, and I would like to present you with something. I was like, oh, well, thank you, ma'am. You don't have to do that. And in true South Louisiana form, she goes, I don't have to do anything. And I was like, yes, ma'am, you're right. And she presented me this box. I was going to wait to open it. She goes, you can open it now. And these are handmade Japanese crystal glasses. I looked at the translation. It actually says moon glass, which I don't know what that is.
Look, I've got to do some research on these. I just want to tell this story because it's so cool. And we can't thank Judy Kane enough.
Oh, yeah, and she loves the show, is thrilled with the show. She likes to listen to us before work, during work sometimes. And we appreciate the listenership. We really, really do.
So, Judy, cheers to you. Thank you for presenting to Implicit Bias these incredibly beautiful Japanese whiskey glasses, which we are sipping. This Smoke Wagon straight bourbon whiskey at what, 92.5, Caleb?
On the money.
From
Correct.
Benny's in Opelousas. So I want to find out what you gentlemen think of this Smoke Wagon. And I'm going to start with this before I go into what I actually think of it. Smoke Wagon is one of those brands that I find what they offer, to me, for a very long time, was more about the outside of the bottle than what was in it. They did some really cool presentation, especially going back a few years. So when we decided to do this bottle, I thought, this might be a really interesting conversation to see what they have evolved into, because this is still really beautiful presentation. They're out of Vegas. Like I said, 92.5 proof. I'm curious as to what we think at the bar. Who wants to start and tell us kind of what you're getting off of this tasting, Eli?
Okay, well, I was always drawn, like you said, the presentation. I've always been drawn, being a former military policeman with the cross pistols. So that caught my eyes years ago, with Smoke Wagon. Love the bottle, love the presentation. I've tried it in the past, a different one, and I was like, it was all right. It wasn't great. This particular Smoke Wagon, I think, is very good. It has a real rich caramel flavor to it, a little bit on the sweet side, but it dissipates quickly, and I just really like the flavor profile with it. Really enjoy, and I would definitely recommend this one.
So, you say this is on the sweet side, and here's kind of where I look at this and think about this. Yeah, it's a little sweet, but it's bourbon. It's supposed to be a little sweet. It's supposed to have that heavy corn mash bill, and you're supposed to get some of that sweet. My question is it too sweet, or is it just sweet and pleasing on the palate?
Oh, no, I would say it's definitely sweet and pleasing on the palate. It has
There
a
you
nice caramel flavor to it. I really enjoy drinking this whiskey. It's good. And being in these unbelievable glasses, the way they fit in your hand, these are awesome glasses. So that may help with the tasting experience.
Oh, the experience, I think, always lends toward what you get out of the bottle, right? I think it always does. All right, Chef Willie. Now, Chef Willie, as we've talked about before, you're usually more of a wine guy.
I am.
But I had a feeling that this proof might sit really well with you. You're going to have to eat that microphone, Chef.
I like this one. I love the bottle. Like the presentation. This is my favorite that I've had here so far.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
With everything that you have tasted
Everything
on this
I've
show.
had. Nunu's barrel pick was the last one, was my number one pick as of lately, but this one beats it.
Okay, so that was the Nunu's Four Roses single barrel?
The one before that.
Okay, we've had a lot of picks from you.
Yeah.
I'll go to the book.
Yeah, go to the book. All right, the Implicit Bias Whiskey Tasting Journal, which you can get on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. Just type in Implicit Bias Whiskey Tasting Journal.
It was the one before that.
Okay.
That was my favorite so far. This one beats it for me.
Well, I think the proof probably has a lot to do with this because to me, the proof on this allows for a really smooth finish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that. It's the mash bill. It's the way it sits on the palate. It's oily enough.
The last one was a Sazerac.
And
you were here for that one.
that was it.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a really interesting thing. We're starting to find out that while Chef Willie might like to nose hump his glass, he is not a proof hound. Because that Sazerac, Caleb, was what, 96? 92?
I didn't take these notes. No, I did.
I was about to say, don't lie. We
I
know you
did. And apparently I partook and didn't write down the proof.
Oh, shocker. Shocker. Not doing his due diligence. You're killing me, Caleb.
I can tell you it was $26.
So that makes it easy, right? But my point is that's Sazerac because it was a normal Sazerac offering, even though it was a pick.
80, 85.
It's an 85 to 95 proof pick,
Right.
which tells me that that's starting to be right in your wheelhouse, Chef. All right. It's time for Implicit Bias to bring in the nose that knows. He is the Rustic Renegade. He will give the most profound, most in-depth, most spiritual review of any whiskey you have ever had. Caleb Morse, the Rustic Renegade.
Look, I don't know about all that, but on the nose, you get the corn, then you get honeysuckle, and then I get like a field of clove, right? Like that nice summer breeze where you get the clove and the honey kind of coming
Makes
at
you feel fine.
Makes you feel fine. And then on the palate, I get a little pepper, almost like a spearmint, but it's not minty. It's really hard to describe because it's spearminty, but not minty. I don't know how else to describe it. Then honeysuckle. Then it just gets to where it's soft, it's sweet, it's yielding, it's forgiving, it's oily, but it doesn't have long legs. It lingers just long enough. And it actually reminds me of something that I had recently when I went visit y'all, Eli. And y'all have these little, I bought them for my wife. There are these turtle cookie things that y'all make. And the caramel, I don't know what y'all do because it can't be just straight caramel. It's got to be blended or mixed with like powdered sugar because it thins it enough and stretches it enough to where the flavor is just perfect. And that's the caramel I get on this. It would match perfect with those cookies. I wish you'd have brought them. I have to go buy more. And then I think everyone would understand it and see.
See, the one time Eli doesn't bring baked goods was this one. And of course, this is the one time that Caleb's like, I wish you would have brought those.
And look, I'm not a turtle guy.
Oh,
when I
don't
walked
lie.
in,
Don't lie.
I like sour. So when I walked in and I was like, look, I want 2 of all these cookies. And I saw those. I was like, my wife wants these. She needs these. And I should have bought more. And I didn't text you I was going. I didn't do anything else. I just showed up at random and you know, did business. And y'all hit it out the park. Everything was just phenomenal. But that caramel, whatever y'all do to that, that's this caramel. It's not regular caramel. It's
Okay.
not like you make it at the house. You can't buy it at a store. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they have little angels in the back stirring it and saying blessings over it. But however it's done, that is this.
No, if it's Eli's Bakery, they've got little fairies in the back.
I just
kidding.
I just
Work
love the way
there.
I looked over and Caleb's describing it and his eyes are closed and he went through this trance.
Look, I'm remembering. I bring it back, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that because that was the biggest. Just watching you describe it, that was probably the biggest compliment I've had in years.
Okay, so I've got to go to my what I'm getting off of this, and dang it, Caleb, I get, and we're gonna go long here. Tug is handling audio tonight as Walker Griffon for our North Louisiana fans not able to be with us tonight. Walker had something to tend to, and we certainly wish Walker the best. This one, I get honeysuckle caramel. I get floral caramel on this, and that is the only way I can describe it. It's not overpowering. It is a light caramel. It sits light on the palate. It is so easy, so subtle to drink. I'm not going to say it's light. I'm going to use a different word. It is delicate on the palate. And it is intentional on the palate. So the flavors that you get, while they're not overpowering, they are very distinct. And it is light enough that you drink a sip or 2 or 3 and you want more because it's not necessarily warming in the chest. It doesn't make you feel full. It's almost a refreshing bourbon, which is really hard to find, in my opinion.
It reminds me a lot of like a Four Roses. Not the flavor profile, but how it's so soft, it's so gentle, it's so forgiving. Like you could have this pretty much year round.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. This you could have in the summer. You can have, it's still 91 degrees somewhere in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is where the TSPL is located during the day. And you can absolutely drink this in the afternoon, sitting on the porch and just having not necessarily a cocktail. Cocktail news coming up. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But you could have this as a straight pour easily on a hot summer day, as well as, you know, during the winter, all those things. Okay, so I know, Tug, I know we're long here. Not the first time I've heard that. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and rate this on the Morse Whiskey Rating Code, and we are going to play What Would You Pay for the What Would You Pay Championship Belt presented by Box Drop. For those who are uninitiated, the Morse Whiskey Rating Code. Red, I wouldn't buy it even if it was free. Yellow, I would drink it only if it was free. Green, I would buy this. Blue, I would seek this out. And for the What Would You Pay Championship Belt chain, closest to the hole, whoever gets closest to the actual price of this at Benny's in Opelousas, our member of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective, where this bottle came from, wins the chain from Box Drop for the rest of the show. Chef Willie, we're starting with you. Where do you rate this on the Morse Whiskey rating code, and what would you pay?
It's a blue for me.
Oh,
$40.
$40. All right. Eli.
I'm going to rate it a blue as well because probably on my way home tonight, or at least tomorrow, I'm going to go buy a bottle. 'Cause
Okay.
I know my wife would enjoy this as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to say 68.
68. And cheers to Stacy if she'll like this. All right. Caleb Morse.
You know, and I'm a squirrel. I'm gonna give it a green because even though it's stupendous, it doesn't have the oomph that I want, right? But this is delicious. God dog it, Eli. 64-28.
So here's the difficult part with this. The difficult part with this is there are a few bottles we get where you're like, yeah, at that price point, and I know the price point, but you're like, yeah, it's a blue in its own right and it's different. It is not bourbony McBourbon like I like bourbon. I want bourbon that you really kind of need to have cold weather to drink. That's my wheelhouse. But this is so delicate, so nuanced. I got to give it a blue, and I don't like to necessarily give out too many blues, but I got to give this a blue because it is so different. And we don't give a ton of blues at low proof. This is one of them. And as far as the what would you pay championship belt chain, Caleb, what did you have? 60 what?
64-28.
64-28. Eli, you had what?
68.
68. Neither of them matter because Chef Willie had $40 and this is like $32.99 at Benny's.
Wow.
Yes, this is not that bottle of whiskey that's overpriced. This is a really good bottle of straight bourbon whiskey at 92.5% proof, 46.25% alcohol by volume from Smoke Wagon. Cheers to them. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap this segment and we're going to go into the stories, solve the problems of the world with more Weekly Whiskey on Implicit Bias Radio. Skynet has apparently become self-aware. AI is allegedly going to take over the world. This is Implicit Bias Radio. And no, this is not the end. We believe it's just the beginning. We are sipping Weekly Whiskey in the Mr. Lester's TSPL. Mr. Lester's, the only 5-star steakhouse between New Orleans and Houston. And yes, if you heard it during the Weekly Whiskey segment, Chef Willie, not only is he here, when he comes here, he does what we might think are dumb things. And he is going with Outrageous October. And yes, he is selling in October, if you ask, an Implicit Bias pour, $5 pours of Blanton's. I'll say it again. $5 pours of Blanton's at Mr. Lester Steakhouse. Make your reservations, go sit in the cigar lounge, grab an appetizer, grab a pour, and then you never know, you might just make it to dinner afterwards. Let me introduce you to the crew. We've got Caleb Morse. He is the Rustic Renegade. Great to have you here. At the bar, we have, as we said, Chef Willie and Eli Tate of Gambino's Bakery. It's a pleasure to have everybody. So if you heard the monologue, we were talking about, is this the end? Or is this just the beginning? But man, if you start going through what we saw and heard and read in Timothy, whew, sounds an awful lot like what's happening right now. People being deceived, people becoming their own God, people basically focusing on themselves, doing things that are immoral, that are illogical, that are unlawful, and claiming, hey, it's all good.
But we've been doing that since the crucifixion. We've been doing that
Before the crucifixion.
since the first day. When you look at Sodom and Gomorrah, how far we were. When we think of where we are today, and we don't have any cities that have been turned to salt, how far have they gone in their depravity? So even though we're in the end of times, we've been in the end of times since the birth of Christ.
Fair. But here's where maybe I start to get a little worried because, I mean, we all know, he whoever says that he knows and the day and the time is just full of crap. And we know this because that was actually the quote, I believe, in the book. And I believe it says, I quote, full of crap, right?
It's
no.
The word is, it's a Greek word though. I can't.
I believe the Greek word,
Scubula.
which you know what that translates to? Crap.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It means unuseful animal refuse, which is crap.
Yeah, there you go. So I want to start here because now when it says the hypocrites, the liars, those who do, so big thing on social media in the last week is, unfortunately, we've had multiple shootings in the last couple of weeks. We had a lot of things just terrible. And we had an incident in Utah. And apparently there is a huge debate raging online about a photograph that has been circulated by a lawmaker. I believe his last name is Swallowswell. Is that how you pronounce it?
It works for me.
Yeah, something like that. Is that right, Chef? Is that it, or is it something different? Okay, yeah, I can't remember. Eli, am I getting it right?
You're pretty close.
Okay. So the picture that he has been circulating, though, there is great questions. There are great questions. There is a great questioning of that picture and whether the picture is authentic, because there's a heavy desire to try and paint the person who did this terrible thing as a political conservative, as opposed to maybe not being a political conservative. And what apparently we know from the most recent stuff is most recently he was a political leftist. But the picture that's being circulated is of him and his family. And one picture that is circulated has political support for the conservative side of the aisle on the shirt. The other picture that is being circulated has nothing on the shirt. In other words, in some way, shape, or form, AI has been used to manipulate the picture. So I want to start here with the crew. And it's this. You know, we hear about the hypocrites, the liars. Is AI just going to make it that much worse?
AI is so scary, and how it manipulates and how much people are relying on it, number one, and then how much debate is surrounding it. So you have this guy that we're talking about, and I don't even want to mention his name because that makes him win.
Yeah, we're not giving him.
But he's still out there. The story is out there because, and it doesn't matter which way it was manipulated.
Correct.
But that we had this tragedy and this crazy person that did something that was so tragic, and it's turned into a political issue over a T-shirt that's almost 7 years old. The picture's almost 7 years old now.
Yeah.
So it's irrelevant, but it can be done. And in this one instance, but what else can be manipulated because of AI?
Well, we're going to talk about
feel
that.
It's going to be the demise because so many people are influenced by just what they see. And with AI now, you can manipulate almost any photograph.
You can take a still photograph and turn it into a video. You can take a person from a picture, put them in another picture and make it into a video. And it is so difficult to discern whether it is real or not. It is frightening, like you said.
Let me interject real quick because I want to pick up on something that you said, Eli, and I want you to think about it. Okay, crazy person. Do you think that he would be what we would all call crazy, or do you think that he was sane in his own mind and cognizant and aware? Because when we assume crazy, it's crazy. You're mentally incapable of understanding your own motives, direction, and so forth. And that's where, when we talk about these mass casualty situations, we talk about people who are performing these horrible and heinous acts. I oftentimes don't think of them as crazy because they're aware of what they're doing. And what I think that we, and I would use the term as well, what I think that we view as crazy is evil.
I would agree with you there, Caleb.
Yeah, 100%. That's a
And-
much better way to state it. Than
And
crazy.
the only reason I say that is because, like, I struggled with defining what I thought was crazy versus evil or right versus wrong for a long time. And many times we think, well, this person's out of their mind. They can't understand what they've done.
Well, let's be clear. We have an entire group of people today that 20 years ago would have been classified as mentally ill. Today, we tell everyone else, no, they're not mentally ill. You're just a terrible person.
You have to accept them for whatever that is.
As opposed to, it's evil to propagate this sickness.
Well, and going along those lines, then, and sticking with the theme of AI, that an evil person or evil people or evil itself can now manipulate good people and justify their actions through AI to say, hey, this is what you didn't see, what you thought you saw. This is why I did, and bring a whole new, and bring people who are not evil onto their side.
Because what it can do is it changes your orientation. When I say your orientation dictates observation, right? Where you are and who you are dictates what and how you see. AI can modify what and how you see. based upon who and what and how you're watching. I mean, all of us in this room can see something happen and see with our own eyes. But if we see a picture from 35 seconds ago that AI is modified, well, even though then we know what we saw, we question.
I'm going to sum this up. They don't want you to believe your lying eyes. It used to be, and we used to say this on the show a lot, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. We have now gotten to a point where it's believe none of what you hear and believe none of what you see either, because we don't know what's real. Now, when I say the incident in Utah, I am not speaking about the Charlie Kirk incident. But we are going to jump to the Charlie Kirk incident when we come back, because Aaron, who was running audio board, who apparently thinks he's now in control, can, but yes, we have to take a commercial. We'll be back on Implicit Bias Radio right after this. This is the final segment of hour one of Implicit Bias Radio. By the way, find us on YouTube, find us on our social media, X, Facebook, Instagram. Like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. It helps us bring your implicit bias to more people. We really appreciate it. In the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast layer, we've got Caleb Morse, he is the Rustic Renegade. We've got Eli Tate of Gambino's Bakery, and we've got Chef Willie, the executive chef of the only 5-star restaurant between New Orleans and Houston. And guess what? It is Mr. Lester Steakhouse. I'm Kevon Bordelon, and yes, we're picking up right where we left off because we were talking about AI. We were talking about the picture being circulated by a certain California lawmaker who also had an affair with a Chinese spy and apparently faces no repercussions for that. Whole nother story. But where that went was, the picture that he was circulating had something to do with a casualty incident in Utah, not Charlie Kirk. But we were having a conversation about, AI and the role AI plays in some of these things.
And look, for this too, we don't know if they knew it was AI augmented at the time. I sent a video quite some time ago to you and a few others, and I was like, holy crap, listen to this. And you're all like 100% AI. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I see that now.
Well, and here's the big thing. You retract it if it's AI.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
to this point, I don't know if we even know what the original photo is, because you've got some news media outlets saying, the original was the one that he circulated. The AI is the one without the political branding. We've got some saying the original is without political branding and the one he circulated is the AI. Where I know I've got a bigger question about AI popping up is the other incident in Utah, which now everyone knows about. It was a global incident, which amazingly enough, the very first politician to offer an apology was the Prime Minister of Israel. Anyway, that's another story. The Charlie Kirk video. Did everybody watch the video I sent with regards to the chair? There's lots of questions around different perspectives of the absolutely horrific video that we saw of Charlie Kirk when he was murdered. It went everywhere. Everybody saw the video. There are multiple angles. There's all this stuff. But in almost every video, there is something that someone says, hey, this isn't right. We're not going to talk about the one that is incredibly gory because there's potentially some issue with that video. Let's just say that fluid stained clothing, and there should be a lot of stains on some clothing where maybe there aren't, or you at least would think there would be. But this is the one that really made me go, what's going on here? So as Charlie is shot, he rotates and falls in a chair. Chairs kind of go everywhere in the video. And one chair, as you watch it, lands on a table, bounces on the table, and on the third, it goes through the table. It's pretty much plain as day. Now, I'm curious as to what thoughts are around big events. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying that, he's somewhere else. What I'm saying is, I think we all know that the story we're being told about the lone shooter doesn't hold up. If you just go through the facts, I don't know that it holds up. Even down to the chat, which ChatGPT says, oh, this is highly suspicious and most likely was created by AI. Is AI involved in pulling the mask over everybody's eyes again? Maybe to tell a story and not the story?
Yeah. So I watched this video over and over again. I looked up and saw multiple different versions of this video, and I can't explain. And I've looked at frame by frame. The chair goes through the table. I mean, it's clear now whether it was because of the iPhones or the phones it was taken with and the way it did it. The big picture out of the whole thing to me is that something was done. And I don't think that they were trying to make the chair fall through. What were they trying to hide? What were they doing? But the big picture to me is, and they refer in the article you sent to actors, that Charlie was not the one that died. It was the actor.
I'm not going that far. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying there was a body double and that's what it was. And there was
but the big picture
trap
that
door
I was
and all
trying to
this
get
stuff.
was that if how they can manipulate society by using AI and how gullible we are. Or I say we, but society as a whole. I'm not.
Well, I mean, we want to believe our eyes. We want to trust what we see, right? Because we see it. And I think the problem we have with most of our video recording devices now is everyone's phone, depending on how you have it set up when you record, would automatically use the AI to edit. Yeah. If you buy the newest, greatest thing, look, at AI is automatically a plugin. It automatically does this. So even though you're seeing it, what are you really seeing? And when you look at the video, there's no matter of angle or anything else that could make it do what that chair does. It bounces through we'll call it a stage, right? It bounces through the stage. Is that AI trying to catch up and augment it? Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. Does it make you take pause and wonder, well, what the hell am I watching? 100%.
Here's kind of where I land with this, which is I'd love to say I know. I'd love to say I've got this. I wasn't there. Thank God I wasn't there. I don't want to see that. I also wasn't taking pictures with my phone. And when we say, oh, I know because I was told by, guess what? If you're not there, if you didn't see it, if it didn't happen to you, you don't know. You're taking somebody else's word for it. What I now know is this. Even if I am there, I am questioning everything more today than I ever was. To think that I am more sound in my belief of what's happened and more sound in my belief in what things are going on. No, I am less sound in my belief in those things and more sound in number one, what I am faithful to, and number two, what I have seen, heard, touched, experienced myself. And that's it. Everything else is getting questions.
Well, and there are things that happen every day that we can't define or describe properly, that science can't define or describe properly. Am I saying this chair is one of those? No. But I'm saying we have to be open to the prospect that anything is possible. Probable? Different. Possible? Yes.
And to your point, we used to say, is it probable? Or we used to say, is it possible? It is possible. Is it probable? The probability when it comes down to video being manipulated just went way up. I mean, if you think about everything that we have allegedly seen in 2025, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. We've allegedly seen some black goop that looks exactly like it's out of the movie. What's the Spider-Man movie? Venom. We've seen something that looks exactly like Venom down in Panama. We've seen craft coming over buildings. We've seen, all this crazy stuff. We've seen great videos of Sasquatch, which are incredibly funny. We now know Sasquatch can talk.
Great sense of humor, too.
Yes, and he's incredibly funny. And if you had shown that to people 20 years ago, how many people would have believed that? How many people would have believed what AI can do today and said, that is 100% real video?
Right.
Instead, today, I'm going, man, not only do I not trust it, I also believe that evil people are behind it. And that's maybe the worst part. I genuinely believe that there are people who do not want us trusting what we see, what we hear, what we think we know, because that confusion benefits them.
Man, that's heartbreaking now that I think about it, Like, how sad is it that we're at a point in society and time where we can't trust what we see because someone else is manipulating what I'll call reality itself.
Think about everything that's been manipulated. And this is one of those things that, Chef, I want you to go into this, and Eli, I want you to go into this. Think about everything. Oh, Doug, the finger? Are you serious? You're killing me here. Dude, the Germans are about to bomb Pearl Harbor. I'm on a roll. Don't get in my way. Damn it. We'll take the break. All right. We will continue this conversation because this is a fun conversation when we come back in hour two. And hour two is always more fun. Why? Because there's more weekly whiskey. When we come back on Implicit Bias Radio, don't forget, if you only get hour one, call your radio station. Tell them, hey, we want more implicit bias. We'll send it to them, I promise. Cheers. We'll be back. Hour two of Implicit Bias Radio. Let me tell you, you want to stick around for the whole second hour. The first hour was so much fun, and then in the break, we had so much more fun. I almost forgot what we were talking about. Actually, let's be honest. I did forget what we were talking about in hour one at the end of hour one. So you want to stick around because it's going to get crazy, I believe, on this episode of Implicit Bias Radio. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. We've got the Rustic Renegade, who apparently is having a moment with his whiskey over there with his eyes closed.
Yeah, I'm singing to myself, actually.
You ever seen those videos of little kids who enjoy their food so much where they're like they're having that special moment, if you know what I mean?
I don't moan like that, but I mean, that was impressive.
No, yeah, we've heard you and seen you moan like that over whiskey. And we're not going to the other part of it because I've stayed next to you in hotel rooms. And at the bar, we've got Eli Tate of Gambino's Bakery here in Lafayette. We've got Chef Willie Gaspard. Chef, you thought that was funny? You like that? Yeah, we're just having a blast. Sometimes more fun than we should be allowed to have on the radio, but we are doing it with whiskey, so why not? All right, so we were talking about AI. We were talking about everything that has been faked. And we were talking about 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy and kind of everything that's laid out there about people who believe and the way that lies will come to us through hypocrites and through demons, and people will walk away from the faith, and people will stop really believing what they know to be true. The question is, do we really live in a matrix? I mean, I want you to think about everything that has been faked. Videos, faked. Audio, faked. Have we faked food? We absolutely have faked food.
Yeah, look at the, what was the one we talked about a while back? The natural gas butter.
Oh, you've got natural gas butter.
Tofu.
Which, natural gas butter, well, it's not tofu. It's actually...
No, tofu's a separate one. But
tofu's not fake, but they try to
no,
make...
it's fake. It's fake stuff.
No, tofu's real.
No, it's not.
But they take tofu and try to make stuff that isn't tofu.
If it doesn't taste like
tofu.
anything and they try to make it taste like something else, it's fake something else.
Even worse, they are faking steaks now. They're using meat glue to create steaks, right? Eli, fake flavorings?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
I mean, so our food's fake.
I've had.
Oh, you got to eat that microphone. Come on, Chef, grab it.
I've had fake burgers. They actually put beet juice in to make it bleed to make it look real.
What?
Yes, sir.
So our food's fake. A lot of times our drinks are fake, right? Our flavors are fake.
Have we gone back to like original bourbon? Because bourbon back in the 1800s, they would put kerosene in it to water it down.
They would.
Other stuff.
They would. They'd put all kinds of chemicals.
Have we gone full circle?
I don't know that we've gone full circle on that because that was fake for a different reason. That was fake simply because you had people who didn't know what they were doing and it was just pure deceit, and they couldn't fake en masse at that point, right? We've got fake people. We can take a person and completely fake them up and make them something they never were supposed to be in the first place.
I've seen The Bachelor, yeah.
Ring the bell. That's well played, right? I've seen this, what was the golden years that they're doing now, some stupid advertisement I've seen where now they've got, people who are in their senior years doing this Bachelor type thing. It's stupid. We've got reality TV, which is fake. And now we've got AI videos, which are fake. So my question is, do we just flat out live in a matrix designed by someone or something else? And is it intentional? That's the big question.
Well, I mean, I would think for the most part, for easy answer, yes, because we have people that are so damaged by reality that they can't accept the fact that, look, the Bible tells us we're going to suffer. Now, that's not every day, but some days are worse than others. And they want to do everything they can to flee from strife, from hardship. And I look around this room and I see people that have dealt with strife. They have dealt with hardship. I'm sure everyone here has woken up at some point and been like, man, I don't want to wake up today.
Yeah.
But we put in the effort, we put in the work, and we're better for it. But there's a generation now that runs from hardship because they're soft. And I think that's the matrix part that we live in, is we live in a society driven by people that want to be soft.
I'm going to take you a step further. I don't think it's necessarily people want to be soft. I think it's that the matrix has been created to automatically make them that way, whether they want it or not. That's how far I think this goes. Think about the fake butter thing. Think about how much sense does this make? That we create a chemical experiment where we're taking natural gas, we're pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. We literally have this massive lab where they are then using natural flavors to create something that God already makes. Meat. Humans have been eating meat since we could catch a chicken and choke it. We have been eating meat this long, right? But yet we got people who now say we need fake meat.
Look, science can't be better than a cow.
No.
I love real beef, real venison, real fish, which I can't. I'm not a good fisherman, so I have to get them from someone else. So, like a good natural meal, and we augment everything. I started writing a book years ago where I was talking about how we augment the coffee we drink.
Why do you lie?
No, I did. I never finished it.
I'm about to say, you can't read or write. We know this.
That was autopen. So
ring the bell. That's well played too.
But
You could have been president.
I wanted to drink coffee that was black, and I realized I like cream and sugar. I didn't like coffee, and that's where most people are today. They like cream and sugar. They don't like coffee. They like steak sauce. They don't like steak. They like salt and pepper. They don't like greens. They like roast. They don't like the hunt. I mean, there's something about the natural form of all of this. I mean, here we are, South Louisiana. This weekend is opening weekend of squirrel season, and I'm really upset that I'm not going out hunting opening day to hunt tree rats, because there's something about killing a squirrel, killing a duck, killing a deer, killing a pig, and eating it that day that says, I can provide. And I think that's where we are. We don't want to provide. We want to be provided for. We don't want to do the providing or give the provisions.
I don't disagree with you there, but I also, think about where we are with just things that were natural years ago. Just a few years ago, but go back thousands of years, and there are things that just make sense. Grains from the field, make bread with it. Bread is mentioned in the Bible. We've been eating bread for thousands upon thousands of years. So then we decide that some chemist, in order to make a little bit extra money for the company that he works for, is going to take bread and make not bread, try and taste like bread, and don't care if it harms you.
Well, and look at our grandparents, If we go back to the greatest generation, the generation of World War II, they had more muscle mass, bones were denser, and they were smarter. I mean, your great-grandfather or your grandfather could build a house with a hammer or an axe by himself.
The Amish still do it.
And then here we are now, we're like, well, I got to hire a professional. And look, I hire people for that kind of stuff because I don't know. But user manuals for your truck used to say, this is how you adjust your clutch plates. Now we're like lefty-loosey, righty-tighty on the lug nuts.
I'll take you a step further. You go back and look, and this is something that pertains particularly to men, but testosterone levels 30, 40 years ago were way beyond what they are today. And this is why I believe that we are in that matrix to keep us there. Video games are designed to create a fake world. Your phone, social media, it's designed to create a fake matrix that we think we live in. And all of this put together is designed to take men and masculinity and creativity and uniqueness out of the world.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that this is definitely by design. If you look back at it, and it goes, it's now getting into, with technology, into AI. It's by design so that there are a few, and I'll go back to what Caleb said earlier, a few evil people in this world that have the power and they want to control society, and they are controlling society because they're able to manipulate us.
And I think that manipulation, to your point, Eli, is incredibly intentional. So if you missed the monologue of this show, go find us on podcast, go find us on our socials. You want to go back and you want to listen to it. Trust me, because it's laid out. The plan has been told to us for thousands of years of what evil people are going to do. Recognizing that those evil people, though, might not be crafting our end, they're crafting their end. Because if you think that the pushback hasn't shown up, the pushback is here. The name calling, guess what? It doesn't work anymore. You want to call us names? Don't care. Not going to work. The guilt, trying to shame people, that's over. No more. And if you want to know and you want to find out how and why you FA and FO'd, just go look at voting results for a while. Just go look at legitimate polls. Just go look at the majority of social media. Just go look at college campuses today versus college campuses 3, 4, 5 years ago. College campuses today, they've had enough. And it's brilliant to see. So that being said, I always say we have news on Implicit Bias Radio. Well, I always say. On this show, I have said we have news on Implicit Bias Radio. We have big things happening. I got to welcome somebody to the show because this is going to be tons of fun.
Steve Carell.
No.
Oh.
No. We were actually able to hire Jimmy Kimmel for $3 a week because he doesn't have a job anymore.
Good on him. You know, he has to do something.
Yeah, but we decided that was way too much. That was overpriced. So we decided to have a partnership with a cocktail mixer. And in the next few weeks, we not only are going to have a weekly whiskey on Implicit Bias, we're going to have cocktails on the show as well. So if you think that we are playing with fire here on Implicit Bias Radio, talking religion, talking politics, talking everything you're not supposed to discuss in polite conversation while we have weekly whiskey on the air, we're going to do cocktails on top of it. We're going to double down. Sirop de Saison, Sirop Trading Company, is now the official cocktail mixer of Implicit Bias Radio. We're thrilled to have them.
Hell yeah.
Say that again, Caleb?
Hell yeah.
I'm impressed. You can actually replicate that time and time again. We need to get that, Aaron. Like, you need to record that, clip it, and just like make it a bump.
You ready? You ready? Hell yeah. Consistency is key.
We know you were raised in Opelousas. That's a whole other thing. Anyway, these are the types of fun things that we get to do. And yes, we're going to have the owner of Sirop on the show here with us. He is going to bring cocktails. He's going to bring recipes. He's going to bring mixers. We're going to have it all on Implicit Bias Radio. So yeah, if you are looking for, by the way, because it's now officially cocktail season, we are in October. It's time for cocktails. We are going to have the best mixers, in our opinion. And trust me, it's not like we don't try these things. We're going to have the best mixers that we've ever had on the show. They are a part of the show. You want the old fashioned to end all old fashions? Eli, I see you shaking your head. Have you had it? Have you used it?
I've used it quite a few times, and it's really good.
Yeah. The Sirop de Saison is kind of the end-all, be-all for old fashions as far as I'm concerned.
And it makes it so simple. Like, my wife can even make, not that an old fashioned is hard to make, but
Be careful there, Eli.
A good one can be difficult. And you know, they're clear.
Well, they have the Sirop de Claire, or the
yeah.
Sirop de Claire.
And that one for margaritas. Oh my God. Oh my God. it's
Okay,
delicious.
so I like that one for a Sazerac.
I thought you were going to say gin. I really did.
No, I'm not a gin guy, but you make a Sazerac with the Sirop de Claire,
Yep. Which I've had.
they are. We actually had the creator of the recipes on the show years ago, and he made Sazeracs, and I was like, I have got to replicate this at home. It is that good. So I'm looking forward to that. But we had to make the announcement because if you are in a market outside of Lafayette and you're hearing Implicit Bias Radio, there's a good chance you can find Sirop Trading Co. mixers and their bitters. Fantastic. They've got other stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to what they're doing. It's going to be tons of fun. But one of those things, a big announcement for the month of October, because it is cocktail season. We go have drinks on Implicit Bias Radio, as if we don't already, to make this a fun and really exciting season on the show. So Caleb, I've got to tease this, and Eli, I've got to tease this with you because I know that both of you have served. We're going to go to the next segment. Tug hasn't even given me the finger yet. I want to say something, and it's just not appropriate for terrestrial
he is
radio.
studying to be a proctologist.
No, Moon River. For those who've seen Fletch, using the whole fist there, Doc. Anyway, no, not that, and that's not the reference. But we're going to go to the next segment. When we come back in the next segment, we're going to talk about those evil people, those hypocrites. We're going to talk about those because we have had a slight rash of people in uniform saying some things that I'm not sure they're supposed to say. That is what's coming up next. We'll talk some more Weekly Whiskey because it's not like we don't have any. Just look at the bar on this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio. Implicit Bias Radio, always more fun in hour 2. We've already given the big news. New members of the Implicit Bias Liquor Collective. That was in hour 1. For those who might have missed that, let me tell you who's in and who's new. The ones that have always been in, New News in Youngsville, Scott, Milton, Maurice. Last couple of months, Sean Pines and Karen Crow. Benny's in Opelousas. This month, Sean Pines in Abbeville joining us, as well as Ambassador Wine and Spirits. Cheers to those guys. Go buy all of your fine spirits there. Also, we're bringing you cocktails coming up soon. Zero de Saison, Zero Trading Company. You don't want to miss the mixers they have. It is now cocktail season, not just in Southern Louisiana, but all over basically North America, which is where we're being downloaded on podcast. You don't want to miss any of that. If you've missed any of the show, find us on our socials. YouTube has the whole show, X, Instagram, Facebook. Trust me, it's worth the listen. Please like, share, follow. It helps get your implicit bias out there. Okay. So for those who have served, we always say thank you very much. We always appreciate our veterans here on Implicit Bias Radio. Some veterans more than others. Is there something with the name Dylan? I mean, I know a Dylan that I really like, but lately we got a couple of Dylans who've gone haywire. Ask Bud Light about theirs. That's a problem. And now we've got a guy by the name of Dylan Blaha who is apparently running for political office and is a member of the National Guard. And he's decided that he wants to be famous. So we figured, what the heck? We'll make you famous. Because in his BDUs, I believe that would qualify as his BDUs, Caleb?
Well,
Is that his battle dress?
no, because he wasn't wearing his blouse.
Okay, I thought he was in uniform, though.
No. And look, his shirt may be like a unit T-shirt or something like that, which isn't specifically authorized, but it's allowed to be deviated. Maybe, but he's not in what we would call uniform, no.
But my question is this, and Eli, you would know this as well. Is it against the military code of justice for him to publicly tell other soldiers you should defy the orders of your superior officer and the Secretary of the Department of War when it comes to deployment in Oregon, Seattle, wherever? Is that allowed?
No, not if it's a lawful order. And I think that's his argument, is that he's trying to say that the soldiers are being given unlawful orders, which is just simply not true.
Caleb, you want to add to that?
And he's right. And look, he's talking about the National Guard, right? So the National Guard's main purpose is to work with and defend our borders. That's the main purpose. They're being deployed within their states, within their regions, to protect their own land, which is, at that point, the governor is who's in charge of them. Now, once they're federally activated, they're under the president, and that's from there. If you think you're being given an unlawful order, question it. Go ahead, question. You can question it. If your chain of command can articulate the fact that it's a lawful order, listen to it. Follow the order. If you still think it's not lawful, listen to it, but go through JAG. There's a means to do this. The way that he's doing this here is 100% not the right way.
So wait, you're telling me there's actually a process set up for people who believe that their orders are unlawful to go through the process in order to determine, hey, this is or this is not a lawful order?
Well, yeah, because you as a service member have the right and have the reasoning and the right, we'll use that term, to disobey an order that you think is not lawful. You have to articulate how it's not lawful. If it's just my feelings are hurt, well, are hurt feelings illegal, Eli?
Boo.
Right.
Who?
Exactly. And look, we after Hurricane Katrina and then some other incidents happened after that, we were activated with the state and took 300 military policemen to New Orleans to augment the police department. And I stayed down there for 3.5 years on orders. We were on state orders.
You were there 3.5 years on orders? I didn't realize you were down there that long on orders.
We took over didn't take over. We augmented 3 police districts in New Orleans. And we had to set up we had our own police academy, training soldiers how to work with, the local law enforcement, local laws. And so it can be done. And I think that the argument that he's saying here, and there's a lot of misunderstanding with Posse Comitatus and the Insurrection Act and the Insurrection Act of 2025, which has not really passed. I mean, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing. I think it's in legislation. They proposed some things, but the president can actually federalize the troops. Now, when we went to New Orleans, we were activated and deployed under state orders. So
Which is different.
It's different. We were Title 30.
Governor's in charge at that point.
Governor's
Correct.
in charge, and we technically, although we were wearing U.S. Army uniforms, we were state militia. The weapons that we carried, we had to purchase state weapons. So instead of carrying the military-issued M9, we carried Glocks, and we drove state-issued vehicles.
Okay.
And we were state-funded. We were completely within our rights. The governor, we could be police officers. We had all the
Well, at
authorization
that point, you're a state. We'll call it a state police.
A state police, right?
We'll call it that. It's not exactly.
You
but
were
still.
essentially
much.
deputized at that point
And what
as
they're
a law
saying
enforcement officer
that
for the city of New Orleans.
that's legal because the governor did it.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that the president, what he's doing, enacting the Insurrection Act, is not legal, which it absolutely is legal because of what's going on, like in Portland. And there's specifics in the Insurrection Act that allow him to activate and deploy soldiers, federal soldiers, whether it be National Guard under federal Title 10 orders or active duty soldiers, to go and quell this insurrection or these uprisings where the local authorities cannot handle the situation.
And what he's talking about, Title 10 versus Title 13, it's where we're talking about where the funding comes from. Right. And look, think what you want about the National Guard. I went from active duty to National Guard. National Guard is not easy. What we did in a month, what we trained and did in a month, the National Guard tried to do in a weekend. Mm-hmm. The guys and gals that shine in the National Guard would shine in active duty service. And we have some phenomenal people out there doing this. And look, I get wanting to question orders. I got one of my UCMJs was for disobeying a non-lawful order. Now, I didn't go through the proper chain of command. I didn't go through the proper route. And I pretty much said no. We'll leave it at that. And it was a big deal.
I imagine there were some other words that went with it. Some probably started with an F. And
yeah, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And UCMJ came from that. But there is a legal way and there's a proper way to disobey an order. The way that this person is talking about doing is 100% not that way.
This is maybe the biggest thing that I just can't comprehend. This does not connect in synapses in my brain. You have people who say, why do we need to do this? We don't need to do this. This is such a big deal. This is a dictator doing this. There are 5 cities in the United States that if you remove these 5 cities, I don't care what you say, crime is down. Down from what? If you remove these 5 cities' murder rate from the United States of America, we go from like top 3 in murder rate per capita to bottom 5. Portland is one of them. New Orleans is another.
Well, I mean, look, we'll look at firearm violence. Those top 5 cities, we'll call the number 350,000 people per year die from firearm violence in those 5 cities.
Okay.
If we back out suicides and we back out we back out law enforcement using firearms and we back out self-defense and so forth, and we look at just where those are, 90% of violent crime in those 5 cities is crime itself. So they control 90% of the vast majority of all violent crime in those 5 locations. So if 90% of the violent crime in the United States happen in these 5 cities, hell yeah, there's a problem there. And it can't be contained by local law enforcement for whatever reason, be it their hands are tied or they're just not strong enough.
And from personal experience, I can tell you, when we were in New Orleans, the crime rate, obviously the population was low when we first went in, but it did, I mean, over the years, the population increased, but the crime was nearly, nothing compared to what it is now. And the crime against the National Guard, the soldiers that were wearing the Army uniform, we had very few incidents where we had to put hands on, because we just, wearing the uniform was a different level of respect. We got more intel from the population because they felt more comfortable to talk to us than the police department. So all it would do, bringing soldiers into these cities, is benefit the cities. And the soldier, they think soldiers could go in there and shoot. Oh, they're soldiers are human beings, and they probably much more compassionate than the police officers, because they haven't dealt with the criminals on a daily basis. They haven't
built up callous to that yet.
Right. And all it does, from my personal experience, was help the communities. And when they pulled the National Guard out of New Orleans, and obviously it worked. I mean, we stayed there a long time, so they kept us there. But when we pulled out, the crime rate went right back up.
And look, it's sad that we're there, but that's where we are. And the reality is, if we can help save people, we should, except for Tug, because he keeps giving me the finger. And he's telling me we got to go to commercial. This is the penultimate segment. This will be the second to last segment of this week's show.
Next one, yeah.
Yeah, the one that's coming up.
Yep.
That would be the next segment.
Yep,
That's it's good to speak English. Outstanding. Yeah, point me to the camera, tell me, yeah. Now, take that finger, you know what you can do with it. We'll be back. More Implicit Bias Radio. Cocktail season on Implicit Bias Radio, which means very soon, Sirop de Saison will be here. We will have cocktails. We don't have them tonight, but you know what we do have to those who are here in the Mr. Lester's TSPL? Anybody know? Caleb? Eli? Chef Willie?
No.
We got the foosball.
Oh.
The foosball, because it is football season. And, we're not going to actually talk football. I have a question, and I'm wondering and need input from everybody here in the TSPL. That's the top secret podcast layer, by the way, for those who are uninitiated. I'm curious about something.
Is that a cup? I would hope so.
No, not that. It's this. What did the NFL fans do, for those who are fans of the NFL, to deserve the punishment that they are getting from the NFL?
Oh, look, I'm the wrong guy to ask that, because I literally just started watching the NFL again this is my first time following anything NFL in 8 years.
Here's the fun part. You can stop again.
Is that why the Saints are losing?
I mean, this is
Probably why.
this is a terrible thing for those who couldn't hear that interaction. You don't want to. Don't worry about it.
Brown paper bags.
The ain'ts of the early 80s, very early 80s. My question again, what did NFL fans do to deserve, number one, the NFL going the route that they have gone in the last 3-4 years, deciding to think that they're a political organization, not a football organization? And then the other one, which is to deserve the announcement of some dude who will, someone who will not even perform in the United States because he's mad at the country. I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to give him the publicity.
Yeah.
As the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Anybody following this announcement?
Weren't you the one that told me that the NFL is entertainment?
Oh, they are. But it's entertainment with foosball. It's not politics.
And I think part of what most of the fans did is they said, well, dance, monkey, dance. You're here for us to watch, for us to enjoy, for us to get away and escape. And now all of a sudden they're trying to be political influencers as opposed to play the game. Enjoy it.
Bobby Boucher's mama would be highly upset with somebody over this. I at least think she would.
Oh, yeah.
Eli,
She would put tomatoes in the gumbo.
Oh, I was just gonna say it blows my mind with the person that's doing the halftime show, and I mean he openly used the G word, and there was nothing said about it. But had anyone else?
I don't even remember what the G word is, but you don't have to say it. No, you probably can't. If you are tempering it now, I mean you can
beep it out, I guess. Said gringos.
Oh, gringo. Yeah, you can use that word.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently offended a lot of people, and even Hispanics said, "Oh no, that's just as much of a slang bad word as the N word."
Yeah, it is a
That
pretty.
he referred to said that there's no gringos that are going to be watching the Super Bowl probably are interested in me, or that are complaining about it being a Hispanic halftime show.
Here's the deal. If it's J-Lo, every NFL dude is watching. She's Puerto Rican. Isn't this guy Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Isn't this person Puerto Rican? I don't know what,
I mean,
right? Something like this.
I don't know. Great question.
I had no idea about any of his political affiliation until he became the halftime show, and then started making some of the comments that he made.
Okay,
and
so let's be fair. This tells you how popular this guy actually is, or this person actually is. I don't know whatever. I didn't know that he existed until the NFL made him famous by saying he's the Super Bowl show.
Look, now Remy, my youngest, did say, "Dad, did you hear he's doing the halftime show?" And I was like, "Who?" And he said it, and I literally was like, "Who is that?" But I think that goes to who they're trying to pander toward now.
Who they're trying, wait, is it pander or brainwash? Which one?
Right now, they're trying to pander toward these individuals because they're already brainwashed. Because when you look at the majority of people who are NFL fans, what's the average age?
So when you market to people, the marketers target a very specific age group
Yeah.
because the belief is that if you are younger than this age group, you want to view yourself as part of this age group. If you are older than this age group, you want to go back and live in that time of your life when you were this age group. And that age group is allegedly 18 to 25.
Not for the NFL.
The NFL is not going after that age group.
No.
It's interesting.
Mid-40s. Until we look at Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Then it was a reset back to
18 to 25.
18 to 25. When we look at the person that's playing this halftime show, their market is what age group?
I don't even know who this person
18
is.
to 25. Same age group. So I think this is the NFL saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Dollars to donuts. This is who we want to appeal to. So
this
now
is,
they're
so,
trying to.
So this is them trying to condition the 18 to 25-year-olds, hook them now on the NFL in order to have them when they are 40, and then they'll just go back and try and pander
Yep.
to the 18 to 25s in another 20 years.
Yep.
Or 5 to 10 years.
Because they think our dollars aren't worth enough anymore.
It makes sense, but the interesting part is, and I guess that's in a way playing the long game, Eli, the majority of people who come into your store and can spend good money, decent money, are they over or under 18 to 25?
Oh, they're definitely over 18 to 25. And I was about to make a comment about that. That is the worst marketing strategy that I've ever seen, especially with Vegas being involved in almost every state now. They're trying to pander to these kids that have no money and are not even probably half of them are even the age to where they can gamble. And so what are they doing? I don't understand. I don't understand the marketing strategy.
Chef Willie, I'm going to ask because I know that to get into Mr. Lester's, you have to be 21.
Yes.
So 18 to 21 doesn't really become an issue. But 21 to 25, they're coming in throwing mad cash everywhere, making it rain all over Mr. Lester Steakhouse?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
I would think that most people in that age group, and look, there are some young men and young women out there who are busting their asses, working hard,
Yeah.
and earning their money. But I would think that the vast majority of people in that age group are spending mommy and daddy's money.
Oh, I would
Absolutely.
100% say that they are spending mom and dad's money in that age group. Now, to your point, you've got your exceptions to the rule. But they're barely out of college.
Maybe 5% have money.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And of that 5%, probably 50%, if they have money, it's trust fund money.
Right.
In other words, it's still, they got their money the real old-fashioned way. They've inherited it.
And about 95% of them can't feed themselves if every restaurant closed down or mom and dad wouldn't feed them.
Well, that's a whole nother discussion about them being able to cook, right?
Speaking of which, you should start like a YouTube show where you just this is how you boil water.
Yep. Boiling water with Chef Willie
Right.
would go a long way.
We can call it Boil Your Willy.
You know what? You could do a lot of hot dog recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Boil your wiener, and that would be a good one.
Yep.
You could even do a special episode, roast your wiener, on the hot dog episode.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, you absolutely could. Tons of fun on Implicit Bias Radio. Always more fun in hour 2. We've got a couple more stories closing things out. We're actually going to do a little bonus content, which is always fun. It is uncut, unedited, unfiltered on Implicit Bias Radio. You have to go to buzzsprout.com, search Implicit Bias, subscribe there. That's where you want to pick up that content. Trust me, you don't want to miss it, because after 3 or 4 weekly whiskeys, let's just say that when they're editing the audio for this show, knowing that they don't have to try and have a trigger finger like a turbo button on a video game is a good thing for the production crew, because Caleb just kind of goes nuts. He actually has made an entire sentence out of one word. Every single word in the sentence was the same word. You probably guess what it is.
It's a skill.
It is a skill. And you know what? You are an artisan.
I try.
You are the Michelangelo of explicit language. Somewhere over Lake Michigan, there is a tapestry woven in the air that you have created as we get to Christmas season. For those who remember, right? That tapestry still hangs somewhere over. Yeah, what? Yeah, Tug. Okay. Notice I didn't say the word. All right, we're coming back. Final segment of this week's episode of Implicit Bias Radio right after this. This is the Take My Money segment. You want to run me bankrupt? Believe it or not, whiskey's probably not the way to do it, even though we do like to sample weekly whiskeys on the show. This is the way to do it. I'm curious as to everybody here in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast layer. Caleb, you've played paintball.
Yes.
It helps if your microphone is up. If Tug
No,
actually
it helps
does
if
it.
it's on. Yeah, there we go.
There we
Thank
go.
you, Tug. Yeah.
Yeah. At the bar, Chef Willie ever play paintball?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Move the microphone. You did.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
There we go. All right, Eli, you've played paintball. I take it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a glutton for punishment, because for those who have played, paintball is slightly discomforting. It is an uncomfortable thing to play, because I'm not going to necessarily go the route of pain.
Not even there. Like,
It creates discomfort when you get hit and you got a welt for a week and a half from playing paintball. But
well, first and foremost, you got to get shot to feel it.
oh, please. All right, Mr. Super Paintball Ninja.
I haven't played paintball a whole bunch, and I'm sure that I have friends who are listening to this. They're like, oh, I'll tear Caleb up. And they probably would. But outside of like a real paintball tournament, in those tournaments and that kind of stuff, I've never been shot. Outside of it, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, okay. Look, the paintball that I have played is not like the what I'll call city kid paintball. It's not with the inflatables where you're running around with the mask and all this stuff. I played paintball out in the woods.
Oh, yeah, we go out in the woods.
Yeah, I played
Back whenever
paintball.
Angel was something you could use with a double trigger. Remember those?
No, I don't.
Oh, but you could roll that gun. I had a friend who could curve his bullets around his paintballs around a
that's-
tree.
Yeah, no, we're not. What was the movie that you're talking about where they did that with Angelina Jolie and
Wanted.
Wanted.
And now you have
yes.
to understand, whenever paintball became a thing, I was a big boy and had big boy money. So like NVGs were there, and
Okay, so when we were playing, when
the
I
only
played
fair fight is the one I lose.
when I played in college, I mean, we had earpiece walkie-talkies, and I mean, I didn't have the money to have those at the time, but I had them anyway. It was like I found the money somehow, and they were a huge advantage, just the ability to communicate. But what they have now, take my money. Paintball tanks.
I
You
really
can actually
hope-
get into a little tank and shoot people with it with a paintball.
I hope you have an individual driver and then a gunner. I hope there's two different people.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just one.
I hope it is. I really do. And I hope it's like a 75 millimeter paintball round. Like that's what I'm after. Not like
That
the
would
little.
be so sick. Like, that's what I'm
Yeah.
like. This would be awesome.
Yeah, like imagine smoking somebody in the face and they're like, "Pow, oh, he's concussed." Like that's what I want to play.
Okay, so what I will say is this. Getting hit in the face with a paintball never bothered me because you got the mask on. The mask is going to catch everything. You might feel a little concussion, but it's not a big deal. And I don't mean like you get a concussion. You might feel the impact of the paintball on the mask. I did get shot in the throat one time under the mask. That did not feel good.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
That explains the voice.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is just discomfort. But man, really what I want is not necessarily the paintball tank. I want an armored paintball personnel carrier with a
Oh,
fully automatic. I'm talking not running out of paintballs. 6,000-7,000 paintballs in the carrier and high pressure, so that it's like a Gatling gun of paintballs that I can literally just walk up and spray a good 400 degrees and catch everything. I want paintball napalm. That's what I want.
Imagine it, Eli, right? A 113 with like two 240 paintball guns and then a 105 mortar round.
That's exactly
Yeah.
where I was going. I was like, that would be awesome to have Kavans, but you still have to have the big gun.
Okay, fair.
To freaking
Fair.
to
How about
shoot.
this? I want a stationary, rotating, anti-aircraft converted paintball gun.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want. I want to be able to sit in the chair and spin and just as people will go by and watch them crawl and slither and as they're on the ground yelling, I'm hit, just keep going. Right?
A paintball minigun. Just
Yes.
sit there.
Oh, dude. And like when I watched the video, I saw this. I'm like, this is like, it looks fun. They're rolling around in little mini tanks. They're having a good time. And I'm like, where's the sea wire? Where's the tank traps? Where's all this other? Like, we would have full defilés. Like, it would be phenomenal because you'd have little Caleb and his crew. Like, oh, they flipped their tank. They're stuck. Like, that's what I would try to set up.
So when I've seen these things, it looks like a zero-turn lawnmower.
Almost.
How
yeah.
much fun would that be? Just turn the blades on and you shoot each other. Like cutting the grass, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
so
yeah.
if you've got a stationary gun, you know what that would turn into? Has everybody seen the movie The Last Starfighter?
Yes.
When he had, what was it, the death flower that was
Yep.
the special weapon? You can only touch it once. Could you imagine sitting in a zero-turn lawnmower and one just spins you in a circle and it just sprays paintballs 360 degrees at varying heights and varying levels? That would be fun.
Oh yeah, the true definition of neighborhood wars. That would be.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
everybody be out mowing their
Oh,
lawn.
yes. Oh, that
Yes.
that is a community activity. That builds brotherhood. That builds friends. That is a friendship activity that must happen. We need to do like an implicit bias paintball weekend.
Okay.
Like we got to figure out.
No,
though-
like, okay.
No, I know. And the question is, who's the person that ends up getting ganged up on? Because there's always one person on the paintball course that becomes the pincushion. They become the pallet.
Walker. Like, I see that right now. And like,
see what happens when you're not here.
I'm not
Walker?
trying to pick on him, but like in my mind, I can hear Moon. And Moon's like, Caleb, get him. He needs to learn this lesson. So I get that we have to facilitate.
We do. We need to teach that lesson. And if that means that we have a scout team that then sets everything up and creates
Forward observers.
that creates the funnel, a fister, that creates the
Yes.
funnel to bring people towards the ambush where we have the tank sitting as well as a surrounding platoon of paintball
An
warriors
L-shaped defilé, L-shaped ambush with a name tape defilé for the tank.
for Walker to walk into. That could be too much fun. Now, this is where you have to get really, really in depth and understand this is how we would play paintball. Someone would be paid to be a mole on the other team. That right? Where someone would lead and be the rabbit that would lead them to this setup because, you know, that's the way we roll.
Well, you have to. Like, you ever did JRTC?
Oh yeah.
Joint Readiness Training Center,
Yeah.
for those that don't know what it
Like-
stands for. I'm not military, but I've been there.
If you ever get to be the Op 4, you're like, oh, this is my chance to shine. Like, this is my moment. Like,
Chef,
that's what I see.
Are you in? You come and
No
play paintball
rules.
with us?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. This needs to happen. We need to make this happen. We need video of this.
Chef would do waterborne. He'd bring his catamaran. He'd have like 4 miniguns set up. Like, he
Oh.
would not play fair.
Yeah, that's where we need full on, like, we need to create the paintball battleship at that point.
Yeah.
We need full on turrets with a range of 20 to 26 miles. Right. I mean, this is where we need to go with this because yes, we are nothing but overgrown 12-year-olds.
Well, that's what we all want to be.
It's
you
what
know?
we should be in a lot of ways. I mean, we need to carry responsibility as men, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to play like 12-year-olds because that's what we are. And I could see this becoming way too much fun. We need to make this. This is when we need to invite people. Oh, that's what we need to do. We need the implicit bias tactical paintball team.
Well, so I actually just had a thought.
Uh-oh.
There's a local guy, and I'll talk to him. He doesn't do paintball, but he does gel soft.
Does gel soft hurt?
We'll find out. Acadiana gel soft.
Because guess what? If it doesn't hurt, we're not doing it.
We'll freeze him. I'll talk to Tyler. We'll figure something out. And we should see, like, we should go out and be like, you know what? Look, test your hand. We'll see what happens.
This will be fun because I want to be on the team with Caleb because I know there will be night vision goggles. There will be comms. There will be hand signals. There will be all kinds of stuff. And this is what we do on Implicit Bias Radio. Stay tuned. More news to come on the Implicit Bias either Gelsoft or paintball team, which is going to have to be a thing. And yes, Tug is saying we got 1 minute. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening, whether you're in New Orleans, whether you're in Monroe, whether you're, one of our satellite cities that picks us up via podcast. We appreciate you being with us. We appreciate the gift. Judy Kane, thank you for the glasses, which we will use, I believe, and we're going to say henceforth on Implicit Bias Radio. And if somebody else has a gift, just send it to the Renegade. He'll get it to the show because the TSPL will be the TSPL in perpetuity. Cheers. We'll see you in 7. Have a great week from Implicit Bias Radio.